The treasures in the National Archives, none is more requested than this photograph of Richard Nixon shaking hands at the White House with Elvis Presley, who had offerred to help fight the war on drugs. Of course, 7 years later, it was a drug overdose that killed him. But today, on what would have been his 75th birthday, the king lives on. For Neil Karlinski, it's a sign of the times.
They say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. But when it comes to Elvis, that is debatable.
Your future Elvises of America, ladies and gentlemen.
Elvis Presley may be the king of rock and roll, but Las Vegas is the city where Elvis, and they use that name somewhat loosely here, still rules. Brian Thomas is Little Elvis.
Why Little Elvis?
Why not?
People just like all kinds of Elvis.
Absolutely. Chinese, Japanese, French, Russian Elvis. Why not a Little Elvis?
In Las Vegas, there is an Elvis for every taste. You can get married by Elvis. You can play blackjack with Elvis.
I've been an Elvis fan since I was about 10 years old, yeah. Blackjack! High five, part of the game.
You can watch a whole squad of Elvises jump out of an airplane.
It's a really weird phenomenon. I don't know what the draw is, but everybody knows his name.
Not all Elvises are created equal.
Thank you very much.
While Little Elvis isn't much of a singer, Big Elvis has the pipes to do the job. Though he says he's half the man he used to be.
I was over 900 pounds.
And what are you now?
I'm about 420. I've lost over 500 pounds.
No surprise, he prefers the older, heavier version of Elvis to the young, svelte one. Viva Las Vegas! The Elvis favorite, Viva Las Vegas, is the closest thing to an explanation anyone can come up with for why this town has so many Elvi.
Thank you very much.
Elvi, of course, is the plural for Elvis.
Viva Las Vegas! Yeah! I'm all shook up here.
Larry Edwards is known as Black Elvis.
What do you have to know about Elvis to be Elvis? I mean, how do you embody Elvis?
That whole attitude, you know, with the collar up and the scarf and the shaking of the lips and all that good stuff.
Kelly Clinton, the female Elvis, hardly needs the signature sideburns and shades. Her Elvis is a borderline out-of-body experience.
You put the suit on, and I really think you should try it sometime. It kind of happens.
It's not going to happen.
But with any character I do, you're picturing the person in your mind. I try to imagine what it would be like to be cool, like the king.
The closest thing to the real Elvis in this town doesn't look like Elvis at all. Jimmy Velvet is a bona fide friend of the king. Here he is in the 1950s with a young Elvis.
Give us a sense of the real Elvis.
He was a practical joker. He loved to have fun. He was a big kid and terribly generous to a fault. He was just brilliant.
Of course, Elvis was something else which impersonators count on. He was distinctive.
You don't have to be that good to be an Elvis impersonator. You can put on one of these jumpsuits and you're there.
Are you personally obsessed with Elvis and the rest of your life?
I'm obsessed with the paycheck.
75 years after his birth, more than 30 years after his death, even little kids still know the king. And while a lot of that has to do with his music,
hey, a little less conversation, a little more action, please.
It seems at least some of it has to do with these guys, too. I'm Neil Karlinski for Nightline in Las Vegas.